Hello and welcome to Storytelling Live. Is there light at the end of the tunnel? I'm not sure. Um, is this what light looks like? Not sure. We've been in a fog for so long we forget what light looks like, right? That's kind of like the character from tonight's story. Um, I call it Living in Fog. It's in well, we've got another story too, but it's in Fiercer Monsters as well. Uh, and then I'll be reading a very long little poem. It's not too long, but it's longish. It's a storyish poemish. That'll be from the Standing Brig from Death at Sea Poems, which I'll post the links, and you should definitely get a copy of each and a copy for your friends as well. Each one of them, all 7,500 of your friends. Anyway, tonight's story. First story. Living in Fog. The sea just doesn't care. Cruel, but true. The sea doesn't care if you're up or down, alive or dead. They'd just as soon ignore that you ever existed. And that's what the sea reminds us of. It is almost a symbol of infinity. It is a symbol of our origin. It is a symbol of our destiny. And I used to sit on my porch every evening, my little balcony that looks over the sea. From behind a building, I've got an angle that affords me a direct view of the sea. During the day was one thing, but the sea at night, the void coming from a large city and then looking out to that emptiness every night affected me in a way that I wanted to write 100 poems, about the sea, about how the sea just doesn't care. Loneliness and despair on the high seas, and that you'll find some of those poems, the better ones, ended up in that book, Death at Sea Poems. And this story that I'm going to lead with tonight is from a book that it got included in Fiercer Monsters because I had it and I didn't want to just wait for myself to figure out a number. I'm trying to, at some point, I'm kind of in a different channel right now, but at one point I was going to make a book of sea fictions. I'm probably going to do that still. That's where this kind of comes from. What else did I want to say? Basically, these guys have been stuck in the fog for so long in the doldrums that they don't know whether they don't even know what's up or down. And likewise, we've been stuck in COVID life. We don't remember what's up or down, or do we? Well, anyway. Let me see. A friend of mine wrote me a letter because we were discussing it. It says, "No, the sea does not care, but I do. All my love." That was funny. So that's another reason why I want to do this story tonight. And you see my writing buddy right here. And it's a little bit of a prop. And we're going to... the character writes this neo-proto-pseudo romantic poem to a character named Christabel. And he's hammering away at this poem, and it's actually crappy. It was hard for me to, wasn't that difficult for me to make it crappy? No. Was it? It was easy to make it crappy. But no, there are some cute parts in his poem. but it's definitely not one that I would write. What else did I want to tell you? As the country opens up, indeed, we might just close this down, So I'd be sad to see this all go, but I'd be happy to see it go. As you know the score. You've been following for so long, and I thank you. But anyway, so got a nice little tie clip. Yeah, I'm doing a beard check. Yeah, any stray hairs? No, I think we're good to go. Yes. Indeed. Anyway. Alrighty, what is this? Here we go. Living in fog. Oh, I wanted to tell you, I used to live in Seattle, and there was a road over by the wharf, the waterfront, called Royal Brome, and I'm not sure if that overpass is there anymore, but it was called Royal Brome. And I used to live in Capitol Hill in Seattle, on Pine Street. But Pike was a big street. It goes all the way down to the wharf, and that's Pike Street. And the city is called the Emerald City because it used to be a redwood forest, and they chopped it down, of course. So they got lots of landslides, but it's all cased up in concrete, has been for a while. But it's surrounded by forest. So the name, one of the bosses who laid me off at one of my jobs was named, don't tell her. Her last name was something like Bulio, so I included that. So, this is Living in Fog, Diary of the Last Days of Forest, with 2 R's, Pike, Brome, the Third, Deckhand, HMS Gouliot. Now you know why that title is the way it is. And I'm going to exit my character, and we're going to be Forest, Pike, Brome, the Third, Deckhand, for the next 15 minutes. Short night again tonight. Cheers. Grab a drinky poo. Settle in. Good tidings to you and yours. Wishing you the best of health. And I hope you enjoy this tonight's offerings. All right. One day when we meet together, we'll talk about the mug. Okay? Not tonight. The sea just doesn't care. Living in Fog. Diary of the Last Days of Forest, Pike, Brome, the Third, Deckhand, HMS Gouliot. December 17th, 1826. Living in fog is more difficult than it would seem. Our course was laid before we began. The crew has been asking questions, but our captain remains confident. It is neither dark nor light here, with little differentiation between sea and sky. Confusion offers itself to us at every angle, to anyone who might be swept up by it. The captain keeps the ship's nose pointed at the compass, and we manage to drift at a leisurely pace. We are assured that his crowded charts hold us fast in their matrix. But this fog, this life, is beleaguering to see it. One would think any direction the same as the other. I could be here or on shore, at my mother's or my sister's. I'm assured there is no doubt of our bearings. At night, the ship is festooned with lanterns. They bellow out gold in 10-foot globes. One might think us a parade ship, but we keep them lit to avoid collision. December 18th. There's adequate wind to take us further, but home could be eons away. Looking to sea, I imagine it is sky. Above is below, but not perfectly so. The water's dumb mockery of the sky. is amusing. It wishes to be still, but blisters and horns erupt nonetheless. The water emotes and cavorts uncontrollably. This is the St. Vitus dance. You, water, are the darker brother to sky, more braggart, freighted with worry, prone to violence. Air, too, is unwieldy, but never sky. Sky is ever the calm observer, the elder brother. December 19th. We raced through the hams and the sheep we brought with us. We ate the last of our turkeys days ago, and now Johannes's monkey is looking tasty. Some are mentioning the meat on the back of its thighs. Late in the evening I eat a bean curd I've saved. It sickens me to ingest, but I'm sated for hours. I leave the others to their stale old rum. But I'm killing that monkey tomorrow if they let me. The sky, divorced of its wretched brother the wind, is a peaceful mate. We convene regularly as I plod through my chores under its velvet canopy. The fog hasn't left us for 30 days, and land could be just off the bow. They'd never let us know how twisted we are. We must keep trusting the captain's reckoning. The world looks the same, whether you're standing on your head or drowning in the ocean after a month or so of drifting in the fog. Christabel, oh, Christabel, why won't the words come? Your hand locked in mine. You and I, walking forever, on plains so verdant. The country receives us. Oh, Christabel. So the king has ordered artesian waters from these muddy primitives of the Americas. Our frigate is encumbered with a load in its hold of no less than 50 barrels of the infernal stuff. Christabel, oh, Christabel. I wonder if I'll ever get this poem written. Let me see. Let's see here. My blood is a tiny sea, mottled in red. It pulses and slams. The shores of my skin, in your honor, the waves swell and heave in concert to the muse of your name. 100 times I've put pen to paper to rattle this ode, decrying my hapless passion for your soul, but I'll write it eventually. I swear on my grave that at least I'll scratch out the rhythm of this marvelous treatise I have so longed to finish. December 22. Oh, Christabel, the days here are waterlogged from dawn to dusk. Now, I've kept a bowl of beans, served up weeks ago, now gone bad. Something in their process of desiccation has been hampered by our moist environment. Small growths of blue fur have sprouted within. All I need do is ingest the tiniest fraction, and volumes of information are revealed to me. Yeah, I take it thus, a thumb and forefingerful. I say, it's getting powerfully heady. I vomit into the sea from my porthole, emptying my innards into the very chasm that swallowed everything. I have ever loved or strived for. The sea does not care. It absorbs everything, great or small. I watch it go as we progress. My vomit pools in pitiful foaming spots. I watch them dip and twist like doilies on the glassy surface below. The ocean is fat and grey, old and not wise, fair Christabel. Ah! My mind opens as if the top of my head has been lifted. Now I understand everything. I might be the only one, but I think I could see the solemn faces of those three bastard brothers, sea, sky, and air. Yes, today they're triplets, identical in shape, age, and form. Sky's the calm one, not freighted with worry or chatter, like his heavier brother, the sea. Air, or wind, as he is known, is the traitor. Prone to violent outbursts, he's your friend 1 minute, and the very next he's got you tight by the throat. The sea just doesn't care. He'll join in any time he likes, but it's all he can do, the sky, to sit and watch for that. They are bastards, each of them, either cooperating to pummel us, or, as now, acting the one as absent as the other, and it's the best we can do to sit here and ride our feeble speck of bark in the half-light. December 23. Christabel, I've been trying for days to finish your poem. It must be complete before we make landfall. Oh, Christabel, I'll proclaim. And this name will be the toast of the town. Our nation will rise in unison to chant my verses. Damn it if I don't need another chew of the blue bean mixture. The entire universe opened up to me the first time I ate it. And we've eaten nearly everything on the ship. We started out with a dozen turkeys. We boiled them, ate them, returned our scraps to the pot and boiled them up again, spiced with dried turnip greens from the cook's garbage. We made 20 soups out of the cook's garbage. No one is allowed to throw anything overboard, lest we're able to make a soup out of it. We're using the king's precious water, and now we've boiled our every last bit of trash to survive. Yes, Johannes's stupid monkey is looking quite nice by now. Fat little thighs on that thing. Indeed. Oh, Christabel, my blood is a sea that thrashes endlessly against the shores of my flesh. For you, it's kind of using the same thing twice, but it's just the same thing. I'm copying myself, and that's how it goes. And against the shores of my flesh for you. Yes, my heart, even better, my heart slams against the hull, even better, of my chest in your name. My ribs, of course, are but prison bars. If I can't have you, my heart is but chained by my arteries. If I can't have you, my heart begs to fly free to your side. But hell, I'll never get your poem written. Christabel, the name of my niece's fawn. Yes, dear, an animal. It was her pet. Back in Cordova. Who would know or care anyway? Once they hear my magical script, invoking the name of a wretched deer my niece saved from starvation, my brother and his cohort scooped it up while gorging themselves on the ecstatic spoils of the hunt, hanging, the bleeding, the skinning, the chopping of the mother, the parting out of the mother, and how they feasted on her. How they ate her in 40 ways as my niece nursed the fawn. We'll fatten it up and set it loose on the property, said my brother, the fool, lying to his child. Have some more beef roast, sweetheart. Sweetheart! H-A-R-T, rather. Oh, Christabel. My eyes are useless without you to fill them, and useless indeed, as sky here blends right into water. Air too is constant, we move, aye, but Lord knows where the current leads. December 24th, Christmas Eve. Oh, Christabel, if you only knew where your mother was. Hark! Someone's coming. I stumble through my chores every day like an automaton, but today I've been hiding in my bunk. Shh, 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 shh. They pass. I'll go out, but I will return, my sweet. No mortal shall tear me away from you, none. Here we are again, my love, as we are meant to be, but in prayer. Tonight is the silent night. December 25th, Christmas Day. The bastard brothers enclose us still, lanterns fixed to the bow, glowing 10 feet in every direction. One would think us a wedding bark. Come evening, but alas, no gaiety blesses our ship. We've lit them at our captain's behest to alert oncomers to our presence, so we don't get smashed. But I'll be smashed any day of the week for you, fair Christabel. To continue with your poem, Christabel. Oh, Christabel. The frogs of shore sing your name. This they chirp in such harmony. They float on night air, flying under the wind. I'll punish every criminal for bellowing out of turn. Why not? For they can never know the attitudes of love you are due, my maiden. Oh, well, the trees, they whisper your legend among themselves. Well, the rain, embarrassed by my clarity of vision for you, will bury itself in the soil, sneaking down to the lake, where we float. Yes? Christabel, oh Christabel. Lightning snags the air, lightning snags the air, and explodes for want of the words I put down in your honor. Let's see. Were I but a playing card? The nature of my royal station would never comply. Let me see here. How to a worldly dynasty so well placed as your own, full stop. See here. For your tiniest denomination trumps me. Indeed. Indeed. It is thus. O Christabel. Exclamation point. Well, December 28th. Our captain has promised the king several barrels of artesian water from these natives of New India. The claim is that it will revive his health and return his mental faculties. This means that we are effectively drowning in fog, lost in the water without a sky to direct us, and burdened no less with a cargo, overcharged with water. Shore could be 10 yards away and we'd never know. We're just as trapped as if there were no such thing as land. We've almost wiped out our stores of food, so we boil what we have, return the scraps to the pot, and boil them ad infinitum, dropping in novelties like boots and gloves and rope trimmings for fiber. We may never run out of water to pilfer. We may never run out of water to tread upon. December 31st. A dream. Oh, Christabel, our eyes are as full as our stomachs on nothing but grey soup. Alas, I sleep. I can't tell. Has it stopped raining? I see the puddles trembling. There's a hole in the clouds. Now a lower cloud, a massive one, has caught the moon's direct glare. It is suspended, silent, ambulant. This is an unfamiliar sky. It is brawny and scattered. The moon carves a path between several layers of cloud, each one bulky and muscular and disorganized enough to let a few straight silver fingers touch the grass. A cry pierces the low clouds passing. It is a yowl, plaintive. The clouds unfold to reveal a perfectly minted moon. The red eye of Taurus stares down from its heaving black cave. The sound is not a rogue drunk or a couple's squabble. It is two cats. They bellow in the dark under the passing clouds, as they attack, they tear one another to shreds. Blood pools in the street. Still, I know, somehow, this is heaven. I stare at the moon, expecting to be drawn up into it. And where am I? Where is this land? Yes, it is familiar. At once I know. This is my fate. Somewhere within the grass. Squirm the sand dunes and fog. Somewhere in the sky. Vultures fly over the sea. Here lives a naked craggy butte kicking mist over its shoulder. It has a thirst for blood, for souls. It needs to kill or damage the humans that clamber upon it. I awake to the sensation that my pillow is full of beetles. Lifting my head, I realize my pillow is tightly wrapped around my face. January 7th, 1827. About today. What can I say about today? The weather is the same. We cruise gently across a hazy mirror. But the captain's floor above my cabin betrays a canopy of chattering clocks punctuated with the wheeze and creak of our flexing ship. The ocean cradles the hull about me. It wraps and oozes, now squeezing, now pulling our frame in the vertical, now horizontal. The limits of my skull ride the measures of the clock's continual song of no melody, no refrain, only a brace of unsynchronized calibrations. It is a rain, rather, of machinery, a ticking, confusion, voiced, and synchronized, boundlessly random. January 10th, at evening, when the day's shifts have settled and we each have retired, rolling in our bunks, the clocks play a ticking song that permeates the root of my quarters. I understand it now as my dirge. The ship's hull provides a sawing counterbass. The slippery tides form a chorus, and the numerous clocks in the captain's room above provide a poignant section of staccato flutes, and these flutes are tumultuous, like confused animals. Hiding, conniving, judging, they belie any hint of rhythm, discordant as a group of human heartbeats. The only pattern binding them is that they worry for safety together. This is the music I sleep to. Certain nights I'm forced to stop my ears with wads of cloth, but the arcing counterbass rides me to the bone. I'm forced to bear witness to the extent of the symphony. It's a music that never ends, only rambles the night through. Soon enough I am roused back to my duties. The spinning of days is the only regular drum beat to guide me, every evening dipping back into cacophony. That sound! I cry, muffled in my bed sheets, chewing at the blankets. I think the bloody spray of stars above, albeit they hidden from me for an eon, that at least I am dry. January 24th. Johannes's stupid monkey slipped off his shoulder and straight into the water today. Probably fainted from starvation. Never mind. Will not hesitate to throw Johannes into the soup once he dies of grief with the thing. That sorry bastard. I'm so hungry for solid food I would eat the calluses off my heels if they were only dressed in brown gravy with a side of roasted beets. My bowl is not missed by the cook. No one cares about a missing dish. Curious though, the beans have shifted in it. I believe a colony of beetles has grown upon them. Well, they don't eat it so fast, maybe they've always been there. Perhaps their presence aids in the fermentation process, maybe. I need smaller amounts lately, and the strength seems to have increased. At once I must set myself to work. Christabel. Christabel, oh Christabel. Your perfumed curls, your willowy limbs dance in my mind like fairies of the forest. Artemis and Diana, heroines both, but nothing like you are my grace! Exclamation. They bow in your honor. They hand over ribbons and dress you in their garlands. Christabel, oh Christabel, we belong together under the smiling eyes of God. Oh, how we'll dance on our wedding day. Our love is boundless, my dear. Our whisperings of truth will knit the canopy of God's heaven. God's heaven. God's heaven. Possessive. With the purest ebullience. And let me see here. Call to me in the open daylight. Let the silvery mists of love twirl about us as we dance down the river valley, from the wedding chapel, yes, for the wedding chapel. We'll make our way to a snug cabin. We'll make our wheel. Let's see here. We'll make our way to a snug cabin. Oh, with a roaring fire. And lace curtains. Yes, about the windows. About the windows. Yes, plural. Yes. Let's see. Okay, from there, we'll usher 3 children into the world. 2 is better than 3. 3 is better than 2. Yes, and I will ensure we have meals on the table. Yes, by like what might I? Well, woodcrafts. By selling woodcrafts. I can do that by selling woodcrafts to the town. Let's see here. That, there, this, here. From a little shop on the corner, of course. From a little shop on the corner. Exclamation. Meat pies for the young ones, of course. That's what they love to eat. Lots of gravy. Now is time for school books and such. Here we go. Enough. Beetle. Now is the time for school books and such. We are swimming in joy. And the tides of our love grow. Oh, with each passing year. Full stop. Christabel, oh Christabel. I'm only ever yours. On earth as it is in heaven. Full stop. There. Christabel. Is this your poem? Have I done it? Let me see. I'll read it back from the start. See, is it moving enough? I haven't powdered the pages yet, but this will have to do. Is it moving enough? That's the real question. Anyway, to sleep for now. And how silly of me. I must have eaten a beetle instead of those beans. The effect is more powerful. Did I eat a beetle? All the same, by now the mixture is probably equal parts. No wonder I'm dreaming of beetles. January 27th. My dreams were more intense this night. I was cutting clouds with a knife. I was alone in a grand house waiting for a clockwork chimney to strike the hour. I couldn't count the chimes. They were puffs of smoke. My work is affected. A ray of sunlight poured through the fog and almost burned me alive for an instant. I mentioned it to no one. Here, I must admit, every day I'm feeling more comfortable in the fog. Should it clear, I'll probably swaddle my head with a sheet. I can do my tasks with my eyes closed anyway. February 10th. I haven't written in 2 weeks. Now I believe the captain is my father. He has no clocks. Why did I want him to have clocks? So much ringing and ticking. The clocks, it must be the shadow of authority, filtering down through the cracks of the floorboards, the regulated authority, the unfaltering and rigorous ticking of time. Christabel, oh Christabel, I whimper your name, and I feel you're waiting for me to finish you, but we both know it can never be. This man, the captain, is my father. He brought me here. He must have. He brought me up, a soldier, then a sailor. Why? Why am I so poor about decks? Why else would I hate it so very much? Christabel, you know me better. My niece might have named you, but it was I who plucked you from Coleridge. I mutated and evolved you into a greater goddess than his frustrated mind could ever invent. His words were callous, unheartfelt, confined. Mine are free. I am free, and am liberated here. Thus, well, it's clearly a family of beetles now living on the remains of my bean curd, a snaggle of blind, wretched, writhing little apostrophes, stealing my liberated invention. My liberating invention, my tool of creativity. I'll just take another one of your children now. Thank you. I'm free again. No blankets of time holding me back from launching myself to heaven if I so desire. They get me dizzier and more airborne each one that I chew. I'm sure that I would float way home if I tried. Their bodies have distilled the mixture by power of digestion. They are tiny wandering stomachs, fleshy wine casks. They will be my salvation, Christabel. Oh, Christabel, the 3 bastard brothers are stacked one upon the other in 3 unbroken lines, the very symbol of solid stillness. They beckon. More children. I must fly. Chanty. Young sailor Brome, far away from home, took his life alone when he jumped into the foam. Chorus. Oh, young sailor Brome, jumped into the foam, alive, oh, and he never made it home. Young sailor Brome, to 7 seas did he roam. He ate the blue bean bowl, and he never finished his poem. Chorus repeat. Oh, young sailor Brome, jumped into the foam, alive, oh, and he never made it home. Are you awake? That's a weird one, huh? I'm not always that weird. Sometimes I am. Well, if I still got you out there. This is our next one. Oh, did I tell you? Wait, I think I had a detail in there I want to say. Let's see. There's a mentioning of a sweet heart, and if you don't know, heart and heart are homonyms, and the heart, it's been played upon forever in English, in Old English, when I was learning English and American Lit back in my undergrad days. That a heart is a deer, and they stab the deer with an arrow. And that's also Cupid's arrow, and the heart deer, male deer, is also the heart. And so Cupid has an arrow, is an archer, and the archer kills the deer, or, do they kill the heart too? Look, I don't know the full stuff, but you can go look the stuff up, and then you'll have more stuff to look at. So, you can find that stuff on your own stuff. I'm wishing you good stuff. So, that was a cool band name, Stuff. It was Joe Cocker's band's name, right? What else did I want to say about that thing? There was something that I totally wanted to tell you, but there's actually a portrait. The guy's dream is actually something that happened to me one evening when I was out in the night, watching the night sky from my balcony. The part where has it stopped raining and the puddles are trembling, there's a hole in the clouds, all that. Actually happened to me one night where I heard these cats yowling. It sounded like they had human voices. It sounded like, it was groaning or discussion or something. It sounded like humans. I don't know. Then I realized it was actually two cats tearing each other to shreds. I've mentioned cats fighting before in other of my works, and that's also, again, from dreams. But this was real life. So let me see. So I include probably dreams in a lot of my work, because the characters fall asleep and they have a dream, and it's significant for the poem itself, or the work, you know what I'm saying? It's a device. Can't remember what else I was going to say. I'll probably remember tomorrow, and I'll write you. Give me your address. What's your email address so I can write you, because I got to tell you this idea. I'm forgetting it now. I don't know what it is. What's the time? I'm doing a time check real quick. Zoopity-doop. Oh, good. Well, it's a little longer evening now, isn't it? Well, I'll make note of that. It's about, we're 48 minutes in, and I'm very happy you're still here with me. This is called the Standing Brig, and it might be quick. It might be long. We'll know. Let's see, I think it's probably going to be about 15 minutes. Okay? And, if you can't stay up late enough to watch this now, you can just come back and watch it later, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, I'm glad you're here now. Thank you. Welcome back. Because you just tuned in. The Standing Brig. Now, I don't need any props for this. On a bright summer day, and this comes from, what's it called? My book of poems, Death at Sea poems. The Standing Brig. On a bright summer day, 10 degrees north of Capricorn, our vessel hit a ramp of slow-moving water. The temperature below decks was a Moorish steam bath when our captain yelled, "Skulls!" and we each grabbed our oars. We dripped down to the planks and pulled forward mightily, but the vessel wouldn't budge as the kelp spun around us. "Damn it, if we're not caught in the forest!" The captain's eyes moved about him, plotting our destiny. "The currents below are forcing us back." In truth, he had spoken, the last of us trembling, for no one had ever seen such a disaster. Miles from nowhere, a giant eddy turning clockwise faced us down in our path and was ever determined to guide us to its middle. Trim fingers of kelp darkly outlined its surface, each rising and sinking, tracing the circle. "We're never leaving this hellhole," somebody muttered, and the rest of us clambered topside to view. What it was immense, with ripples and valleys. I'd have mistaken it for land had it not been so glassy. Like a thinking creature with wings and a nest was just below the surface and wanted to digest us. "We're lost. We'll never see home," said another one next to me. "We've not begun trying," said our captain with hope. "Grab the kerosene, grab the rum, but leave some for later. We'll need it to wait out the rest of the voyage. I need you and you. Take the barrels and pour them overboard, but gently, so it floats all the way to the middle." And so it was done, although doubtful at first. The fuel was dispensed with over the moorings. "And now," as he gestured, evening settling, the sun at an angle lit the liquid floating. It made an oily trail, spiraling inward to the core of the nest. "Once we burn up these weeds, we'll have traction and haste. We'll make our way out of this nagging current." And we looked around stupefied, for what was his plan? But to burn submerged kelp? To free us from sacrifice? Yet what could we do? For the weeds had us locked, and the eddy was permanent. We had to try something. "Let's just use a lifeboat. We can leave the ship where she lies. I've got nothing important locked up in my quarters." And that's what they said. But our captain was a bold one, bent on taking us to the East Indies or die. Die is more likely when I considered how a sea set aflame would likely consume us. "Now get me a match," hollered our captain, and each of us felt our pockets for a box. The first mate next to him handed a mug-sized cannon, loaded with the charge used for signaling. With a word or two beforehand, the captain nodding, he aimed for the outer ring of the oily spiral. Beneath, the dark hands of the forest raised and lowered, only an inkling belied the density beneath. We each held our breath. Someone began singing, a song he knew for events gone bad. The captain fired it with an ear-shredding fizz. The missile landed at the edge of the spiral. A second had passed, but the charge was alight when it skipped on the surface and started the fire. "Look alive, ye dogs," he said like a champion. Each of us gaping off the starboard rigging. The evening was setting, and the conflagration grew. We all watched it in horror as the kelp forest boiled. At times it flew at us, at others it groaned. It writhed in pain. It begged us for mercy. The fire spread sideways and came for the ship, but the captain had lowered a team tight aft to pour water on the hull and fend off the flames. A blister beneath, the sea was rising, a glowing lump of char festering at us. The first mate mentioned to the captain beside him, "It's a pocket of methane, sir." A man of the books he was. "A pocket of what?" The layers of earth under the water have a solid deposit of crystalline fuel locked up inside them. That must be what's driving the spiraling current. "Crystalline fuel?" Dear God, if you're right, we'll be nothing but ashes as soon as she blows. But none of us heard him, because the sight was so frightening. It seemed like the ocean was madly scrambling to pull us all under, courtesy of the devil himself. The waters around us were lit like a canopy. Sorry, guys. The waters around us were lit like a canopy. An explosion flew up, dwarfing the mainmast, showering pebbles back to the surface. Some hit the fires and popped up again. They flew off like meteors into the night, but some just bobbled across the deck. It was curious, and suddenly interesting in light of the catastrophe. Some people kicked them from underfoot as the decks were listing. They exploded on impact and blew off their toes, shredding their boots like so much wet paper. "Take care with that debris," said the captain, wryly. One man was shrieking, his arms outstretched, face raised to heaven, and God help the fellow. He'd caught one in his mouth. When the pebble ignited, it turned his face inside out. His bellows just petered into a noise like a foghorn. "Throw that man over," said our faith-loving captain, "and get our brooms topside and the strongest below. We've got a mountain of rowing to do before sunrise." So away went the screamer, and up came the brooms, and down went my team, and I was among them. We rowed until dawn, till our bodies were noodles. But we never stopped pulling. There was a point where we even forgot where we sat. 2 men died rowing, but their arms kept on moving, and the sun had returned to bake overhead. The fire showed no signs of abating. The swirling masses of kelp kept on turning. We forgot where we were and left our bodies. I had a vision. I was pacing a forest. I swam to the edge and found myself hugging the toes of the highest peaks in the land. Birds had roosted on top of my head, mistaking my locks for the branches of trees. The forest swayed to the breeze of my breath, and the nature around me was lifting and sustaining. I trudged my way to the top of the peak. My wife and daughter floated in front of me. They wanted to sing in unison, a prayer for wind. I knew the song they were supposed to be singing, and as they opened their mouths to begin, an explosion occurred inside the boat. One of the pebbles had fallen to the floor. An oarsman then reached to grab it, and in an effort to soothe his pain, he took the ultimate remedy by slapping the token hard against his forehead. He screamed for an instant and sprayed his robe with his brains. They left him where he fell to the floor. We went right on rowing, nobody stopping. Down the captain sent more to replace him. From my seat on the bench I could tell we were moving, but edging ever backward, just barely escaping the island of flame. It boiled and popped and showered us in pebbles, each little stone an offering solution, a clunky reminder. If I only had the guts. 3 days we were there until the fire subsided and a storm wind blew us off the scorched patch of ocean. Our hands looked like giant black paws. The captain told us to urinate on them to keep down the blisters and prevent complication, but we were so parched we hadn't the luxury. We sat at the base of our benches in agony. We'd been hurled off course from a searing drama to the slowest patch of doldrums our ship had ever squatted. The sea was molasses, and we a dying fly. This time a deckhand grabbed up a pebble and stuck it in a board. He went at his head with it. Sadly, it didn't fire the first time he tried. He was getting worse with each continuing bludgeon. We were so exhausted and and disturbed and half dead ourselves that all we could do was lie around and watch. All of a sudden, a shipmate stood up and peeled the board from his wretched hand. He was melting in agony, his face all but smashed, looking up at him with one eye swollen, the other closing down fast. With a bleeding shrug, his hands falling open, he kneeled in front of the man with his board. And that's when the mate took one sporting whack and saved the poor life of the cowering dead man by firing the explosive down directly on his head. And those who could move made this cross on their chest. Others simply shifted their eyeballs away to another angle of our ghastly hold. I've had more than enough of this woesome voyage, and that's why I'm going to put down my oar. I saved one of the pebbles in my shirt for this occasion, and I have slid it into my ear for accuracy. Now all I need do is ask my shipmate with the board, still standing, to please do me the reasonable honor. Hopefully he'll get it right on the very first try. That's it. What did we do? We're at an hour. So I'll make note of that. I'm learning it now. What time? How long? Duration. Pardon my sneeze, I'm not vaxxed yet, so. Thank you once again for your excellence and patience and interest. Chin chin, chiri, chiru, whatever. And I'm going to have more cool goodies for you. For real. Next week. This week was fun. How am I going to top it? I'm not sure yet. But that's my goal. I'm thinking of you. And I'll think of you all week. Thank you. Please write to me or, I don't know, say hello or something, whatever you can do. Let's, if you're close by, let's hang out or maybe not, or go take a walk or something, COVID, man, but we're down to level 10. Level 10. What am I saying that for? Level red. Level red. Red is not equal to the number 10, or is it? That's something for us to figure out on another week of Storytelling Live. Thank you very much, and good night.